All right, let's talk about something anyone who's ever stepped into a gym has faced. It's that classic dilemma, right? You feel like you're at this fork in the road. Do I focus on losing fat or do I focus on gaining muscle? And pretty much all the conventional wisdom tells you, hey, you've got to pick one. You can't have both. And you know, there's a really solid scientific reason it feels so impossible. I mean, think about it. To lose fat, you absolutely have to be in a caloric deficit. That just means you're burning more calories than you're eating. Simple enough. But to build muscle, the rulebook says you need a caloric surplus. You need extra fuel, extra energy to build that new tissue. So how in the world are you supposed to do both of those things at the exact same time?
Well, what if I told you that you can? It's totally possible. There's a scientific term for it, and it's called body recomposition. And listen, this isn't some fitness myth or a crazy fad. It is a real physiological process that you can actually kickstart in your own body if you have the right strategy.
Okay, so how on earth does this actually work? Well, a great way to think about it comes from Nerd Fitness. Picture your body as, well, as the sorting hat from Harry Potter. Seriously, every single time you eat something, your body gets this new batch of calories and it has to decide, okay, where do I sort these?
And those calories, they can basically be sorted into one of three main houses. The first one, they get burned immediately for fuel, just to keep the lights on and keep you moving. The second house, they can be used to rebuild and repair your muscles. And the third house, well, that's where any extra calories get stored as fat. The whole trick to body recomposition is figuring out how to take control of that sorting process.
So this brings us to the million-dollar question, right? If you are purposefully eating in a caloric deficit to lose fat and you don't have any extra energy coming in, then where in the world does the energy to build brand new muscle actually come from?
And here it is. The answer is, your body is incredibly smart. It just taps into its own energy reserves. See, your existing body fat becomes the caloric surplus. It's like having a built-in battery pack. So you can eat less food to signal your body to start burning fat, and at the same time, your body can pull energy from that fat to fuel the muscle-building process. It is literally the ultimate biological two-for-one deal.
All right, so we get the why now. We understand the science behind it, but what about the how? How do you actually do this?
Well, the whole process really boils down to a super simple, actionable framework made up of just 3 pillars. Let's break them down one by one.
First up, pillar number 1. This one is the absolute non-negotiable foundation of the whole thing.
Okay, pillar 1. You have to maintain a caloric deficit. This is the master switch. It's the signal that forces your body to start tapping into its fat stores for energy. If you don't have this deficit, the rest of it just, well, it doesn't happen.
All right, pillar number 2. This is what tells your body where to direct all that newfound energy.
You have got to be strength training, lifting weights, doing resistance training. What this does is it creates these tiny little micro tears in your muscle fibers, and that sends a super powerful signal to your body that basically screams, hey, we need to rebuild this and make it stronger than before. Without that signal, the energy you're freeing up from your fat stores just doesn't have a job to do.
And that brings us to the third and final pillar. This is what provides the actual raw materials to get that rebuilding job done. Pillar 3 is all about prioritizing protein. Look, if strength training is the blueprint for the construction project, protein is the pile of bricks. It's that simple. If you don't eat enough protein, your body might actually start breaking down the muscle you already have for energy. But if you eat plenty of it, you're giving your body the exact building blocks it's looking for to repair those muscles and build new, stronger ones.
So how much protein are we actually talking about? Well, a really solid guideline to shoot for is somewhere between 0.7 and 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight each day. So as you can see here, for someone who weighs 180 pounds, that means you're aiming for somewhere between 126 and 180 grams. Seriously, hitting this number is absolutely crucial.
Okay, so the theory's great and all, but what does this actually look like on your plate, in the real world? How do you take these 3 pillars and turn them into a simple eating strategy you can actually follow every day?
Well, one of the easiest ways to put this into practice is with something called the healthy plate model. It's a fantastic, super simple rule of thumb. Just fill half of your plate with vegetables. Then fill 1/4 with a good, solid protein source. And that last quarter, that's for your carbs, things like potatoes, rice, you name it. This method just naturally guides you to hit your protein goals while keeping your overall calories in check. It's brilliant.
Now here's something really, really important that you have to wrap your head around. If you're doing everything right, and you lose 1 pound of fat, but you gain 1 pound of muscle, guess what happens to the number on the scale? Absolutely nothing. It doesn't move. And look, I get it. That can be super frustrating if that's the only thing you're looking at. But it's actually a huge sign that what you're doing is working perfectly.
So how can you track your real progress then? Well, you need more data. The scale is just one tool in the toolbox. You need to combine those weekly weigh-ins with weekly progress photos. The scale tells you about your total weight, sure, but the photos show you the visual changes. You'll see more muscle definition, a tighter waistline. The two of them together are what tell the complete story.
All right, I know this all sounds amazing, but is body recomposition the right move for everybody all the time? It's time for a little reality check. So who is this really great for? Well, it's absolutely fantastic for beginners. They tend to have more fat available to use as fuel and can build muscle pretty quickly. It's also great for anyone who's just feeling kind of fried from years of extreme dieting. But it might not be the best fit if your number one goal is just maximum super fast fat loss, or if you're already pretty lean and don't have a ton of those fat reserves to pull from. In those cases, a more focused cutting phase might get you there faster.
And it's really important to remember that body recomp isn't necessarily a forever strategy. It works best when you have more body fat to power the process. As you get leaner and stronger, the progress will naturally start to slow down. That's totally normal. And at that point, you'll see a lot of more experienced folks switch over to those more traditional cycles of bulking and cutting to keep moving forward.
So it turns out that whole choice between losing fat and gaining muscle, it might just be a false choice after all. The science is clear. It is absolutely possible to do both at the same time. So I guess the only real question left is it time for you to stop choosing between your goals and start achieving both of them?